Off the plane and head to India. India. I like to say India. Somebody said that. It might have been one of those British actors. It was Alec Guinness, maybe. I was heading to India. Anyhow, we are now doing the open mic, and we're going to start off with a revered poet. Somebody that really is one of the greatest poets around. So we are actually in the shadow of greatness today, here and now, folks. And this is the truth. I mean it. I do. You listen to me. I'm calling up one of... Testify. I'm going to testify. One of the best ever, and I do mean this, and I'm serious. I'm not joking. To one of the very, very best, and you will know it as soon as you hear him read. Andrew Parkin, please come to the stage. He's taller than me, so I'm going to have to move this up.
Hello. Okay, thanks. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you for that amazing introduction. I think I should pay you to introduce me every time. When I was living in Hong Kong, 1963 to 67, there were a lot of people in England and in America waving little red books. However, there were 100,000 illegal immigrants coming across the border from Mao's China every year into Hong Kong, 100,000. They were not waving little red books. They knew what was going on, starvation on a massive scale. So the Hong Kong government had to house them, and they built up what were called resettlement blocks, and they could resettle these people in apartment blocks without elevators, and then they would have 100,000 more, and so it went on. When I was there with Francoise in the 90s, we had immigrants from Vietnam who came, and also more immigrants from China who came over the border or paid what they called snakeheads to smuggle them over the border. So I wrote a poem called Song of an Illegal Immigrant, because now we've got the illegal immigrant problem again, especially in France and Europe, but coming from elsewhere. This is Song of an Illegal Immigrant. I'll hit the road and quit this place. I'll hit the road and grab a better life. I'll skip the propaganda sores that bring the spirit to disgrace. I'll shun the stopwatch and the gong as time runs out on hope and faith, and dodge the one-child-bearing brides. I'll pay a snakehead for the night trip to Hong Kong. And there I'll live at a dizzy height, or under some dusty staircase doze, or prowl abandoned village streets, or work from a shed on a building site. I'll scale the scaffolds of bamboo on a concrete spine in a porcupine town, and at New Year I'll climb the hills to search for a girl that's just like you. And under the shade I'll mend my shirt and drink a toast to the pincushion town. I'll meet a sweet-smelling modern girl who's pretty and rich and born to flirt. Even in dwindling countryside, she'll be svelte in her green tracksuit, and her sports shoes will be costlier than any trousseau for a village bride. I'll stroll my city streets as sun begins to fade. I'll smoke long cigarettes between my teeth, and from a pure gold chain around my neck will hang her heart of precious jade. I'll master the use of portable phones, and I'll carry brown notes but no ID. Our kids will go to a school abroad, but when we die, they'll polish our bones. A brown note was in fact a $500 bill, a sign of being wealthy if you had those in your pocketbook in Hong Kong. They were escaping the countdown to 1997, which is when this book was published, and because of what was going on inside the People's Republic. And this poem is Storm Across China. Above the cycling millions and the stark hills of the frontier, lightning licks a black sky. Again and yet again a dragon's tongue brushes the book of night and white characters of fire. Then I've got one of my signature poems, which I'm proud to say was put on the BC transit system for a year, and I've got a copy of I've got a plastic thing that they put on some of the buses. It's called Four Treasures. First they took my brush, I wrote with my own hair. They stole my paper, I wrote on walls. They confiscated ink and stone, I wrote in blood with a bit of bone. Now those are the four treasures of the Chinese scholar poet, who often painted as well as putting a poem on the painting. But I read that in Taiwan, and a Taiwanese poet came up to me. He said, actually there are 5 treasures. I said, well, what's the 5th? And he said, with a big grin, a sword. That's Taiwan and China for you. Anyway, another thing about Hong Kong, I wasn't preoccupied all the time with illegal immigrants and teaching and so on. So this is the last poem I'll read. It's called Love Letter to a Woman in Paris. And that woman, of course, is Françoise, my French wife. I hear the dogs bark your name in the village across the valley. When a bird sings your name. Yesterday I saw a white egret standing in the shallows of the sea, lost in contemplation. Like you, it makes a gift of elegance. You are the lonely bird, rising from gentle waves and flying through foreign woods. You have promised me nothing, and never thought to demand of me vain promises or lies. You have shown me the angels traced on the gold of the sky, and, white bird, I have taken them with your own beauty into the deepest glades of myself.